Hello everyone, it's Shalia. Welcome. Well, it's finally here, and as promised in last week's video, I am here to walk you through all things horses. I lost hours of footage when I started recording for this video, including the beginning when we first get to Wishblossom Ranch, meet Snow White, and find our first horse. But I am not going to let that get me down, and I am going to go ahead and show you where and when I got my first horse and how we can progress with our new friend from there. Let's get started. Once you get to Wishblossom Ranch, you'll need to enter the ranch and find Snow White. Now don't worry, she'll be right at the bridge waiting for you when you walk in. When you find her, you'll give her the voucher that you received in your in-game mailbox, and then you'll have a lot of conversation about what's going on at the ranch. At some point during that conversation, she will ask you to help her get rid of the bees at the front of the bridge and tells you to search the area to her right. You will need to go to the right of where she is standing and follow the path up into the cave. Once you get into that cave, you will need to interact with the fading wish blossom flower in the middle, and once you do that, you will receive your first horse to customize. Now, as you can see, since I lost all my footage, my horse is already customized, and I named my mare Butter. She is not a boy horse, by the way. She is a mare. And I have her all dressed up in the new accessories that I got as an early adopter by purchasing Wishblossom Ranch between November 19th and December 3rd. So if you want these items, all the Spring Festival accessories, you need to purchase Wishblossom Ranch any version by Wednesday, December 3rd. However, even if you are an early adopter and you claim the Spring Festival items from your mailbox before you came to Wishblossom Ranch, you will still only be able to change like patterns, manes, tails, eyes, hooves, etc. at this time. You will not be able to add tacks, saddles, bags, reins, or any other accessories until you find them around the ranch. Now, the expansion accessories can be found in the green chests, so keep your eyes open for them as they can be found all over Wishblossom. Once you find an accessory, the other categories will be unlocked, and you will then be able to use the rest of your Spring Festival items while you search for the green chests and unlock the rest of the accessories. Now, at this point, just play around with these basic options for now until your horse or mount is the perfect reflection of you. There's still a lot to customize here. And after you're done designing your new horse, you'll need to talk to Snow White again. She'll have you gallop and jump obstacles with your new horse friend. You will have to gallop and jump so many times to complete this task. Now, it does go quick, I promise. Once you complete your first task with your horse, go back and talk to Snow White again, and she'll ask you to get rid of the bees blocking the bridge. All you have to do is face your horse behind the cart and just move forward. Your horse will push it towards the bridge and distract the bees so you can cross it. And I am so sorry I can't show you this part since I lost my footage, but I'm fine, really, I am. I promise I am. And as a side note, you do not have to dismount to interact with other villagers. You can talk to them right from your horse. You can also pick things up while still mounted as well, which I absolutely love. And just note, you cannot interact with your companions though. Right from the start, you will be able to walk, trot, gallop, and jump over things. And they can jump over a lot of things, not just fences. I mean, you'll find that you can jump over bushes and other obstacles in your way as long as they're small. At this point, you can jump over a lot of things. You will also learn how to push things out of the way as well, just like the cart in the tutorial. Now, to walk, you can just use the joystick on your controller as normal to go forward. To trot, you will need to push your controller further forward. It's the same as if you were moving your character. It doesn't go a lot faster, but you can tell that they're trotting. To gallop, you will need to move your joystick forward the whole way while pressing the sprint button, just like you would if you were going to glide. Your horse will jump over fences and other items naturally while either trotting or galloping with the sprint button pressed. If you are just walking normal with the sprint button pressed, your horse will totally stop at the obstacles. However, while standing in front of the obstacle, you can push the joystick forward the whole way with the sprint button pressed, and then you will be able to jump that obstacle even if you are standing right in front of it. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to run or anything to get up to this point. Once you get through all of that first tutorial and you get rid of the bees and you cross back over the bridge, you will need to talk to Snow White again at the well and do a few things there with her. Just follow what she tells you. These tasks are easy. You're just looking for stuff. And then once you're done at the well, follow her over to the stable to unlock the first stall. And this is all part of the Wishful Invitation quest, which is basically the tutorial. You will have to complete some tasks before you do unlock that first stall. But again, these are all pretty easy. Just follow what she wants you to do. And just as an FYI, there is a cart on the right side of the stall where you will have to push that to get the bees to come away from one of the little letters that you have to pick up. It's a memory. And I'm actually kind of bummed now that our horse doesn't go inside the stable like they showed in the trailer. It'll just stand there where you leave it, which is kind of cool as well. And this does come in handy later when you take your horse to another valley and you don't want to ride it the whole time, but you want it to stay in that valley. This is actually kind of a cool little feature. And it is something I haven't tested fully yet, but you can take your horse to any valley or floating island as long as you are riding them when you fast travel. You can also summon them to come to you wherever you are, so that is pretty cool. I have my horse and Sven, and they both can be summoned to wherever I am at the time. However, I can only ride one at a time, of course. Now, I don't think this will be the case once we have multiple horses, but that'll be a future video for me since I haven't unlocked more than one horse so far. Also, your horse will stay in the valley you're in until you mount it and move it somewhere else. You leave without it or you shut down the game. And by the way, I just discovered this while I was recording this. If you leave without your horse, it will be sent to its stable. Oh my word, I love this so much. And the cool thing is you can actually interact with it in its stall. So you can leave it there. It's so neat. Also, speaking of Sven, I didn't get him until I was able to upgrade my horse stable with a second stall. And that does take a little time as you need to explore more of the Wishing Alps to upgrade to a second stall. So for those of you wondering where Sven is, if you purchased that deluxe or there was another edition where you could get Sven, trust me, he'll be here. You just have to be patient until you can upgrade your stable with that second stall. Now at this point, our horse cannot yet earn XP points, not this early in the expansion. The only way you can get XP for your horse and level them up is by talking to Scrooge once you've completed the Tales of a Broken Heart quest, brought Snow White and her house into the ranch, and started the Ghost Town quest. You will not get to choose an ability for them either until you reach Friendship level 3. Their friendship works just like your new villagers do, but you can unlock all 5 abilities and they can be used simultaneously as you bond with them, unlike our villagers that can only ever have just one role at a time. And just a side note, you can't do anything like collect ephemerals yet, like those dead wish blossoms around the ranch, but we are getting close. Now we're going to quick run through the next quest, which is Tales of a Broken Heart, and we're going to be able to run through this one rather quickly since I'll just be giving you a quick snapshot of what to do since this is one of the parts of the original footage that I lost, of course. At this point, you are going to need to follow Snow White to the Wishblossom Heart's entrance. If you lost her, just follow the bridge to the right of the stable and keep going until you meet up with her. It's going to be right between the 2 bridges. This is where you will finally meet Tinkerbell, and that's exciting. Once inside, you are going to need to talk to the giant wish blossom in the middle of the cave. She's going to ask you to break up some red crystals with your horse by going into each of the 2 paths to the caves to the right side and behind the giant wish blossom. And then there is another one that's almost in front of the giant wish blossom, and you got to go up the staircase. You'll find the part that has a staircase and just go up it. You're going to find your 3rd one there. So you're going to have to break all 3 red crystals at this point. And once you do that, you'll unlock Tinkerbell. After speaking with Tinkerbell, your horse will now be able to collect pixie dust from the dead wish blossoms around the cave and the ranch. You will need to gallop over them to collect the pixie dust. And you don't always get pixie dust with these. It's just like any other ephemeral that we have in the game. You're going to get coins, you're going to get seeds. It just depends, but you will get pixie dust as well. So walking and trotting, just keep this in mind, walking and trotting will not work. You must be galloping to get them to break. Once you can give your horse an ability like collecting ephemerals, night thorns, inkies, and splinters of fate, those kind of things, you will be able to run over them the same way to collect them. And that'll come in time once you get to level 3. Now, there will be a few more things to do in this cave before you can leave, but once you complete those things, again, they're very simple. Just follow Snow White back to the ranch and talk to her. Now, you will finally get a brush so you can brush your horse. Go ahead and brush them, and once you do, everything will become bright in the ranch, and some snow will melt, revealing beautiful foliage. Snow White will then give you her house to place after some dialogue, of course. Once you place her house and welcome her into Wishblossom Ranch, you will need to talk to Scrooge about a crystal key, and you will learn about that key in the cave with Tinkerbell. You will now start the Ghost Town quest. It is now at this point that your horse will be able to earn experience. You will have to meet Scrooge near the area in front of that cave where you just met Tinkerbell, you know, in that cave, but right out in front between the 2 bridges, and he will now introduce you to bonding. This is the same thing as growing friendships with with your villagers, except you're doing it with a horse instead. Now, if you brush your horse again now, you will level up and you will be able to move that large boulder that's keeping the drawbridge up. Your task in the corner will tell you to pet them, but brushing works as well, and I'm sure if you fed them, that would work as well. And speaking of feeding, you can also feed your horse at this time, but you will only have the berries from the bush at the ranch. This is only one of their favorite foods, and in order to feed them other foods, you will need to progress through the Ghost Town quest and then to Goofy's quest, Wheel Big Trouble. Something to keep in mind while you're trying to level up your horse: you will get XP from brushing, petting, feeding, performing its abilities, and jumping with your horse. You can only pet, feed, and brush them once a day. Well, feeding is actually 3 times a day, but you know what I mean. Those are the only times you're going to get XP from those activities. After that, the only way to earn more XP in the same day is to have them jump over things or continue performing their abilities. Now, I did hear that there is some kind of glitch out there where you can go in a corner and press your horse forward into a gallop while holding down your sprint button, and you can just hold it there while it levels up. But my game won't let me do that. So I actually created a jumping course on my floating island. And yes, earning XP is slow, but if you have time and you just like jumping with your horse, this is the way to go. However, this early in the expansion, you'll probably just want to continue mining or having your horse perform one of its abilities instead. Just want to get that out of the way. Let's go back to the Ghost Town quest. Basically, this quest just gets you to the village east of the ranch, where your house is, by the way, and you just have to move the large boulder to bring down that bridge and then follow Scrooge. Once here, you'll talk to Scrooge, and then Goofy and Remy will join you. Once you are done chatting about that crystal key again, Goofy will have you follow him, and his quest, Wheel Big Trouble, will begin. And it seems his cart, which will, once repaired, move around Wishblossom, is cute, but really quite annoying if you want my opinion. However, there is no way around fixing that darn mobile cart if you want to progress through the storyline. If you haven't gotten that far yet, just wait. I think you'll find it annoying too. Let me know in the comments if you haven't, if you absolutely love that thing or you hate it. I need to know. Now, once you talk to Goofy about his stall, you will need to complete quite a few tasks. All of these tasks will need completed to finally get the ingredients you need to feed your horse another one of its favorite meals, open up Remy's restaurant, and have Scrooge's grand opening in Wishblossom. Now, I will not walk you through this quest in this video to save time. However, if you need help getting through it, just ask your questions in the comments, and I will try to answer them for you as quickly as I possibly can. Now, if you want a separate tutorial on this quest, let me know that in the comments as well, and I'll be happy to work on it for you. So once you've opened all the shops and Goofy's stall is on the move, literally, you can start bonding with your horse to level them up. At this point, except for giving the horse abilities, it is now fully functional, for lack of a better term. Once you get to level 3, you can now assign it a new ability. You get 5 choices here: water crops, digging, removing ephemerals like night thorns, harvesting, and mining. Now, don't worry, you will unlock all of them eventually by leveling up, so you can start with whichever ability you want. I started with mining because we need those resources the most here at the beginning of the expansion. You do you, but I do recommend choosing mining. You will also get to choose another ability at level 4, 5, 7, and 9. So after you choose that first ability, you can then prioritize which ones you want after that. I chose removing night thorns for my second ability just because I wanted to try that out. But again, you do you. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, I don't recommend harvesting. I don't recommend that be one of your first things, okay? Don't pick harvesting and digging. Digging is almost not something that I would even care about. And I do have some footage of that later on in this video. So we'll get there here soon. Keep in mind, when you do choose your first ability, you will get an on-screen tutorial. It's just a little picture thing. This tutorial mentions horse sparks, and this bonus, if you will help your horse do things a little faster in a set amount of time. It is timed. So to get horse sparks, you'll need to feed your horse its favorite meals, all 3 of them every day. And when you do this, you'll get about a 20-minute window where your horse will have sparks around it and it can do things a little bit more efficiently. Unfortunately, this bonus only lasts for about 20 minutes a day, at least at the stage I am currently at, and I have not unlocked any other biomes in Wishblossom yet, and my horse is at level 7. So while you have have those 20 minutes, you're going to have to make the best of it while you can. Now, I recommend waiting to give your horse its last favorite meal of the day when you are ready to have it help you get things done. Like basically every ability except removing ephemerals. I found that there's no real way to make that more efficient except by just riding your horse normally to collect them. The horse sparks actually do nothing for this particular ability, just so you know. But yes, wait until you're ready before you feed that horse the third meal, because if you're not ready, you're going to waste that 20 minutes and you only get that once a day. Now, like I said, I am finally at level 7 with Butter, and I have unlocked 4 of the 5 abilities. I did level Sven up, and he can now dig and harvest, the 2 things that aren't the best, okay? And he at level 3 will harvest 2 crops at a time outside of the sparks window, I'm calling it. If he's within that 20-minute horse sparks window, meaning you just fed him all 3 of his favorite foods for the day, he can harvest up to 6 crops at a time. My only issue with this is that you can't grab the bonus pumpkins as quickly on Sven or your horse, and if you have a villager helper with you, it takes them an extra minute or so just to throw out the rest of the bonus crops. And unfortunately, when they finally do throw out the crops, they are no longer glowing, and you or your companion helpers will have to manually pick them up one by one. If you have a big pumpkin farm like I do, this is totally not worth it. Now, I also gave Sven that digging ability. Within the horse sparks window, he can dig up to 9 holes at a time at level 3. That's where he's at. Now, without the sparks, he can only dig 1 hole at a time. Now, I'm assuming as he progresses, he'll be able to dig more holes. I feel like it's up to 3 holes. That's what I think. I haven't tested this out, so I told you guys I need more time with these horses. Because there is so much to learn. And on a side note, with the digging, he can remove the holes as well. And of course, I tried it with the sparks. He can only remove up to 6 at a time with those sparks. And then, of course, only 1 at a time without the sparks, because he can only dig 1 hole without the sparks. Again, I'm definitely going to need more time with these horses before I can give you a full tutorial, especially on the horse sparks, because I was not able to test them out too much. I only have a day or 2 under my belt with that, and I'd like to have more days, you know? My Butter can break rocks. It's a little slow, but much better than jumping off and pulling out my axe for sure. Now, without the sparks, it takes up to 5 to 6 jumps to break the rocks. With the sparks, they can break the rocks in 3 or less hits. So that's kind of worth it to me. I do like the breaking of the rocks. I do like that ability. My Butter also has the watering ability, and she waters really, really quickly. I can't even count how many crops she waters at once. And I actually think it's just 1 at a time, but she's really, really quick at it. Now, I haven't tested out watering with horse sparks activated yet, and I'm not sure that's where I would focus my 20 minutes if I had the choice, because she's pretty fast without the sparks. And there are definitely other areas where the sparks are necessary with the abilities, but with that watering can, she could also water the fires in the Forgotten Lands really quickly, and the mushrooms that grow around the valley, and does so extremely efficiently. And she does it automatically too. You don't have to tell her, you don't have to press a button, nothing. She just automatically pulls out that watering can. So basically, anything that needs watered and you walk through it or past it, your horse will water it if you have that ability. And I would assume that that would mean dried flowers as well. However, I did not test that. Another thing I found that we can do very efficiently on our horse is pick materials up off the ground. You basically don't even have to stop. You just casually walk over them, pressing A to pick them up, and they're in your backpack without even stopping. I absolutely love this. And like I said before, I definitely need more time with the horses. I want to bring you a full tutorial on everything these horses can do, including our royal horses that we haven't even met yet, or at least I haven't. And I want to know what happens after you get all 4 of your horse stalls filled. I want to know how that all works out. So I am going to be doing another video on this. So there are a couple things you want to keep in mind about your new horse friend. You cannot use your tools, change your clothes, or go into furniture mode while mounted on your horse. You cannot tame new companions while on your horse. They will hide their heads in their chest indefinitely if you tried. I tried it. They just sit there. They do nothing until you get off the horse, and then they're no longer afraid after about a second. Now, you cannot use your ancient vacuum or gardener while on your horse, but you can use your ancient cooker, your cooking station, and your crafting table while mounted. And speaking of crafting table, you cannot use your uncrafting table while mounted either. And And unfortunately, your horse cannot go indoors with you. I'm kind of bummed about that. However, they will wait patiently outside for you to return. And that's actually it for this week. I really thought I would have time to dive deeper, but there really is a lot in this new expansion to see and do. But I think we really did cover a lot on the horses, with the exception of like the royal horses, which obviously I haven't unlocked yet, and getting a full stall, things like that. Hopefully we'll get to that one in the next week or two. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget, if you like this kind of content, to like and subscribe. And most of all, don't forget to be kind. Until next time, everyone, bye!